under a new name. So she's gone solo. And
That's
I'm like,
cool.
cool. I'm like,
'Cause,
dude,
like,
I should totally collab with her.
Yo, yeah, for real, because, like, Simon Martina, that was, like, my age of, like, vloggers, and, like, that's my, like, internet famous people, not this Instagram stuff.
Yeah, exactly. She's such a veteran. She's one of the, OG YouTubers I feel like that really developed the platform into what it is today.
Yeah.
And like I feel like their early videos are really the ones that set the level the bar. They really set the bar for quality, for video production
Mm-hmm.
because you can see the progression of their early their early videos were just all about K-pop dances and them like fucking around in their living room.
Yeah.
And you just see where they started to like getting a full-on production studio and like getting a staff with like
Mm-hmm.
video editing, professional lighting. So
The truth
yeah.
started from the bottom, now I'm here.
Yeah. So real like
Inspo.
YouTuber goals.
Yeah.
Goals. But I think it's so cool that Martina is continuing on with her solo career.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think once I like get enough experience with this podcast to actually know what I'm doing, like I think I want to like maybe reach out to her and like maybe in a month or two to be like, hey, so I have a podcast. Do you want to collab? Because she lives in Yokohama, so it's actually
Oh, sweet.
really close by, and I would definitely make the trip down to like do some content down there.
That's dope. I like Yokohama.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I think that was another tangent, but
Darn.
what was I trying to say?
something housekeeping, something identity, something.
Oh yeah, music. We got our music going. Konnichiwa.
No, I'm sorry. I was like, are we making the music shit?
That's a different kind of video, Justine.
Oh.
That's the Patreon only paid content.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't ready. I was like, wait, do you want me to make music?
These are the paid extras that our lovely Patreon
Everything
subscribers will be getting.
is content now.
Behind the scenes. Konnichiwa! Welcome to Top Class Tokyo, a weekly podcast about life in Japan and the collision of Asian and American culture. I am your host, Kim, aka, oh shit, I don't have an IG name set up for this. I am your host, Kim, English teacher by day and by night, podcaster extraordinaire, broadcasting to you from Tokyo, Japan. Joining me today from sunny Los Angeles is my lovely co-host, Justine. How are you, Justine?
Doing well.
Yes, awesome. Okay, class, let's settle down and take attendance. So today we are discussing a couple topics. I have finally caved into the peer pressure to watch Squid Game. And I binge watched the entire episode, 8-episode series this weekend.
Welcome.
Yes, I did it in 2 sittings. So I did, I did 6 episodes in one night, and then it was about 3 in the morning, and I had to go to work the next day. So
You can now participate in spoiler culture, which is the past 3 weeks since the
yes.
show came out.
I can finally like
come break with us.
My Twitter feed. Yeah, it actually, I feel like so much more a part of the conversation now because all the memes are making sense, and it's just like I kept seeing this old Korean man just curled up in a fetal position sitting in the corner, and it just never made any sense to me.
Me waiting for Monday.
Oh man, yeah, but I think there are going to be a lot of spoilers in this episode, so spoiler warning for those of you who have not yet watched Squid Game. Go binge watch it now. Okay, here comes the report card segment of this podcast, which is class, we will be distributing your report cards today, and we will be talking about certain topics that we are interested in, especially as weebs and enjoying pop culture, and giving them grades. So we're going to give a grade breakdown for Squid Game, which I think it was A tier. A tier. You last week you gave it a B tier.
That's because I was
Overall?
only 2 episodes in.
Oh my god!
But I'm caught up now.
The first episodes are so good, and I was like, "What the hell is Justine talking about? This is like A tier level. Like this, I was hooked. That's why I was binge watching it. So like back to back to back, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't stop watching. They're like cliffhanger endings, and you really." I love like protagonists like this guy who these fuck ups with like a heart of gold kind of, you know, character.
Deadbeat dad aesthetic.
I'm not so much about deadbeat dad, but he kind of has this personality that redeems himself, you know, where he doesn't abandon his friends.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he's a kind person deep down. He's just very irresponsible.
Like, you want to hate him, but you can't because he's still a good guy.
Yeah, so I thought it was a really, really interesting dynamic just within the single character that he can't help himself, and he's so flawed, but yeah, you're still kind of rooting for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really liked a lot of the characters, and I thought it was an A tier. I give it an A on the report card until the point, okay, spoilers now, until the point where he gets sent to the island and the billionaires, like the eyes wide shut people, start walking in and they start speaking English. Until they start speaking English, my entire fantasy was broken of this entire series, and I was just like so cringe. It was like it was like waking up. You know, it's like when you walk into a bar and it's like last call and the lights
who turned all the lights on?
Yeah, it was like getting a bucket of cold water like thrown onto you, hearing English suddenly appear in this series, you know? And I don't know if it's just like the level of quality of like the caliber of acting, maybe I would say, because for the main Korean cast, I'm really impressed. I love K-dramas, and I think they do such a great job with these ridiculous storylines. Like, I find it really believable. They deliver just incredible performances, but when I this is my personal opinion, but I think the foreign talent in countries in Asia is definitely C tier.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like the people who can't, you know, find an English-speaking acting career in an English-speaking country are not quite at the level, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it just felt really jarring to have these like A-tier actors suddenly stand next to like this English cast that I was like, oh my god, what just happened?
Well, I can't imagine really finding quality English-speaking actors in a country that does not speak predominantly English to really be like, oh yeah, this is where I'm gonna make my casting recognition right here. It's kind of like, we'll get what we get. Oh, you speak English? All right, you're in.
It was like C-tier acting from the foreign. I'm sorry, like, to those old white men, but like
especially that like profile, you don't really, well, unless they're like ex-military, you're probably not gonna find a lot of quality old men, rich men actor features in Korea.
Oh my god. But if anything, I feel like it does highlight how big foreign film and foreign TV shows are getting, that, you know, hey, like, there is a market maybe slowly emerging, because this has been the most diversity, which is kind of laughable, but it's been the most diversity I've ever seen in a K-drama, you know, for like an ensemble cast, even having just like the Pakistani guy, the one of the lead, not even lead, but like one of the main supporting characters throughout the series. It's kind of unfortunate that, you know, he does eventually not make it through the Squid Games, but I think it's a promising step in the right direction. That it's like, wow, like when else have you ever seen? Actually, no, there was a black guy on Itaewon Class.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only other time that I've seen it. But that series is a relatively recent series, and I can't think of any other series beyond these two that have featured a non-Korean, non-native Korean speaking
supporting character.
Yeah, supporting character. And also, I feel like even though they're kind of like the stereotypical, like minority, which it's also interesting to see that they're not a, blonde hair, blue eyed,
Token.
foreign person.
Yeah.
Token white person. That they are a person of color, and I don't know if that's just like, I don't know. I'm just really surprised that that kind of character is being featured in a Korean series, and I'm really welcoming that sort of spotlight. So I hope it's a sign of things changing in the right direction for like, featuring diverse casts in Asian media. So that's kind of cool.
Have you seen
for that?
Yeah. Have you seen the conversations on social media about how Squid Game reflects a lot of like the social issues that are going on in Korea right now? That's why there's like the guy that's super into debt. There's the elderly people living in poverty. There's the migrant workers being taken advantage by their employers. There's like the gang world that's part of like each of the different characters highlights a different social issue that's going on in Korea. And I really liked how each of the parts, like each of the main characters are all part of that social like dilemma where they're either there's who's the one 456, I forgot her name. Her parents are from North Korea, so there's this discrimination about North Koreans are coming to the South, how it's hard for them to really establish themselves, really get a job, really be seen as like equal citizens because they're getting like paid less, they're being exploited. Same with like pretty much everyone is like everything that's negative in Korean society right now is pretty much highlighted in that game, and how all of it is fixed with being financially stable or being able to make a living in that said society. And I always thought that was like a great reflection of, oh, people paint Asia or Korea as this like, oh, everything's great, everything's luxurious, everyone's like wealthy. It's like, no, not really. It's just they're like the diaspora is more hidden or less spoken of. So I think I really enjoyed that social aspect of Squid Games in itself, aside being super entertaining. It's like these are all situations where people in Korea would either know people or have relatives or friends that are within that situation.
Yeah, now that you mention it, these things have always been present in Korean society, but now it's always been kind of under the surface, and having a show like this become so virally popular, it's awesome to bring these situations to like under the public eye, and now people can actually have an excuse to start a dialogue about it. And I think that's also like part of why it's gotten so popular, is that it touches on all of these issues that are currently happening now. I actually was watching an interview on Asian Boss. It was like one of my recommended videos in YouTube. But it was an interview with a North Korean defector. I recommend it. It's like, I thought it was going to be like pretty long. In that time investment to watch was like 40 minutes, but I couldn't stop watching. It was like, and it felt like 10 minutes went by. This guy was just literally living a Shawshank Redemption style escape to really like risk his life to cross the border and get free. And then even once he made it to South Korea, you know, his struggles didn't just end right there, because he does face a ton of hardship just trying to adjust into a society that even though he is a Korean, that still discriminates against him for you know, his class, you know, whether he has, you know, money, and just judging you on, you know, where you come from instead of who you are as a person. So yeah, I recommend that too. A tier for that.
Thank you for laying on
Asian
the social
boss
realness.
Yeah. Yeah, so Squid Game, I think there's so many topics you could mine just out of that one series. I thought it was so short, being only 8 episodes. I felt like this could easily have been an entire, like, 13 to 20 episode series long. Like, and I felt like they could have. I'm assuming they're gonna make a season 2 because of how crazy popular this has gotten.
Yeah.
And another spoiler, I really am disappointed with how soon they killed off the cop. I'm like, that character was so good, and I was just like, there's like, I think Squid Game is A tier for the things it does well, but there are just a couple things that just really, really bother me about it, that I do see where you're coming from when you knocked it down to the B tier level. For me, it was the English-speaking actors, and then just a couple of minor details in the writing where, like, I remember one of them saying, like, he got upset that he bet $1 million on one of the candidates, not candidates, one of the players, and he lost the bet. And I'm like, a fucking $1 million can't even buy you a house, like, in America. And I'm like, this like supposedly rich motherfucker is getting upset about $1 million.
Maybe he's just really cheap. That's how he got rich, man. Okay.
I'm like, okay,
frugal billionaire.
I need the writing team on Squid Game to double check their currency.
No. What happened is they spent all the budget on the quality Korean actors that they couldn't afford the nicer foreign actors to play the English parts. That's what happened. It's a budget thing. But now that this is so successful, the next one will be better because they got a bigger budget.
I hope so. And I'm like wondering, how are they going to bring in new actors who are not part of the games? That's kind of interesting to me. I mean, obviously they can expand on this shadowy, like, game network where, you know, there are these, you know, rich people who are just playing with our lives. But that's why I thought the cop character was so interesting, that it was going to be like a cat and mouse kind of game, and like, how is the mystery going to unravel? And I thought that was sort of like the third string in the story that was kind of like tying everything together. But they cut off the cop sub story thread so soon, and then it was like, I felt like it didn't get enough development either, with his brother being
the winner
on the island somehow.
Yeah,
so when it was supposed to be like this big betrayal, I didn't think that was a very impactful scene. And I was like, because you didn't really feel it from the other brother's side, right? The one that had been missing for this entire time. So it was kind of like you only heard half of the story, and you felt lost, just like the detective did. Like, you were just really confused, and you were also asking yourself, why is he doing this? That question is never answered.
I hope they go, like, if they do another season, they'll go back to, like, link back the brother, the younger brother, or whatever, the cop's brother, to see, like, how he did through the game and how he climbed through, like, the hierarchy of the game. Because I think that would be an interesting, like, perspective to see, especially since we didn't get any of it for the first season.
I knew there was something up with that old man being player number one, and I was like, wait a minute. After the tug of war scene and how the old man knew how to win, and I'm like, wait a minute, how long has this game been going? Because that man is very old, and I'm like, has he survived like 400 other players to get to this point? So I'm like, either this game is rigged, this man is a plant, which he ended up being a plant, or he's been a player in this game so long that he is the only elderly survivor. And I don't know, I guess they just kept bringing in new people to try to take him down, but they never could, so.
plot twist, the old man is just super broken. Best stats in the game.
Right? That's kind of how it worked out, right? Like, yeah. Every time, like, you thought the old man was gonna be, like, the weakest link, he ended up being, like, the wild card, so.
It kind of makes me question if they played the same game every time they did the tournament. Because I'm like, wait, does the old man know what all the games are if he's, like, already a plant and he's been through all the games? I imagine it's,
yeah.
Like... He also is old and is, like, losing his memory and stuff, so I don't imagine him, wait, is that an act or is that him, like, actually losing his memory and being like, oh damn, this game is fun? Don't know how far gone this old guy is, but...
I thought that was pretty ambiguous as well. I was like, well, after the marble scene, you were like, oh my god, the old man was faking this whole time, so... Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was an act.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was an act, but they did leave a little bit room for interpretation. But my general feeling is that most of it, if not all of it, was an act. That he's still pretty sharp and he knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. So Squid Game, tons of fun and only 8 hours of your life to watch and join the conversation. Definitely A tier. I rate it. I would still leave it at an A tier, even with its flaws. For the impact that it's having on the world, to be able to generate a lot of discussion around these social issues and being an awesome, just work of art on its own. A tier.
But, like, one thing I do really like about it is, like, the execution of how they present the social issues. Because I know there are, like, movies that talk about, like, oh, this war, this stuff that's going on in the Middle East, this injustice over here. But because it's one of those things where it's so extensive and so involved with the social issue, it's hard to capture a larger audience. But the way that it's delivered within Squid Games, where it's like, oh, these are all the things that are a problem, but we're not going to be like, oh, this whole show is going to be about the problems. It's going to be about this game, which is like a metaphor of society as a whole in this country. Makes it more attractive than just like, oh, this is happening, somebody do something. So it makes it more digestible for the general public.
Yeah, it doesn't force you to care about the issues, but it makes you aware of them.
Yeah, it like plants the idea, then it...
Yeah.
Based on that, you can either expand on it, but at least with just watching the show, you're more socially aware of another country's, like, social issues aside from your own.
Agreed. Yeah, it doesn't force it down your throat. And so you can enjoy Squid Games without becoming a social justice warrior. But if you care to investigate further, which that's why I clicked on the link to watch the Asian boss interview with the North Korean defector.
They're doing the rabbit hole strat.
Yeah, so what's the real deal? And that, it's crazier to even hear the true story about how somebody escaped from North Korea. So, yeah, that's our report card today.
A+ influencing social movement.
Yeah. Another thing that really bothered me, I don't know if, like, Ali Abdul is a very popular name in Pakistan, but that kind of just felt like a Harry Potter Cho Chang moment for me. You know what I'm saying?
True.
I'm like, okay, all right, like how lazy were these writers?
All the
like,
budget went into the Korean actors, okay?
all right, well, come on, step it up, writing team. I'm like, what? It's like having the token white character be like, "Hello, my name is John Smith." Like, you know what I mean? Like, uh, these details, man, details. They get to me. All right. um, anything else on the agenda for our report card?
I want to talk about getting ready for Halloween because I'm actually super guessed up for Halloween right now. Okay,
Yes.
so
Oh God. Like the timing is so perfect for the show to come out in October, and especially having a show that features masks so heavily. Like everyone is going to be in a Squid Game outfit this Halloween.
yeah, pretty much. But I think one thing I'm super like before I was kind of whatever about Halloween, but this month or this year I'm kind of like, yo, let's full send. I'm glad that my work culture is very like, oh yeah, come decorate your cubicle. Oh, come dress up. There's a contest. There's gonna be a chili cook-off. I'm just like, yeah, I'm into Halloween this year. I'm excited. But I literally just came back from buying supplies for my cubicle decorating because I'm gonna be an inflatable Patrick Star for my office Halloween contest, and I just wore it yesterday, and I was just like, I want to live in this costume. So I literally bought like a bunch of like tissue paper balloons so I can make bikini bottom. I'm gonna have like jellyfish fields, and I have the paintings I did over the summer of their different homes, and then I bought materials to make the Krusty Krab and the chum bucket, and I'm just like, ooh, I got 2 weeks to put this shit together. I'm so excited.
Oh my God. Talk about the differences between Asian and American culture. Jeez. I have totally forgotten about how fun working in an American office can be.
Like,
Oh
are
my
you guys doing
God.
anything like? Do you guys do festivities? Or
Hell no. Are you
Aw.
fucking kidding me? This is Japan. What are you
Aw.
talking about? That kind of stuff I would imagine is absolutely unthinkable here in Asia.
Like in the office?
Yeah, are you kidding me? No one is gonna dress up. There is no decorations. Like, it would be totally, totally unthinkable here. I can't even imagine anything like that happening, let alone at a school or even like a company. Maybe if you have a very young like startup that's very international, I could see it happening here.
Mhm.
But in a normal company in Korea or Japan, I don't see it happening. And like
Yeah.
that's one of the things I really miss about living in America, working for an American company, is just like in a lot of these companies, like even at companies where it's you would feel like it's relatively conservative, there's kind of like a work hard, play hard, attitude where,
Uh-huh.
we do enjoy celebrating holidays and like getting into these very um, American holidays, which I guess is also part of the reason why it's not really celebrated here in Asia. That
Mhm.
Halloween is a very non-Asian holiday that kind of like right comes from the whole like uh, pagan roots and
Yeah.
Christian
But I think
sort of
I think they
history,
still
but
touch on some holidays for the sake of like consumerism and capitalist culture where it's like, oh, we saw Halloween stuff, the youth will buy it and we celebrate, and that means more money for the company. So I remember when I was celebrating, because like whenever I'd always be living in Asia, I would be there during end of summer, beginning of fall. So I would celebrate Halloween either in Japan or Korea, and man, they go hard in Osaka when pre-pandemic given for Halloween. Like Donkey had a bunch of Halloween shit. There was like Halloween flavored ice cream at Baskin, and I was just like, yeah, this place is great. Given the holidays, just an excuse to party and dress up. I still enjoyed it.
yeah, that's all it really is here. It's kind of like what St. Patrick's Day has become in America.
Uh-huh.
It's really just put on a costume
And drink.
have some themed
Yeah.
drinks, have a party. Um, and it's become very very loosely associated to the actual history of the holiday itself.
It's dyed the river green.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of anticipating seeing a lot of Squid Game outfits this year. Mostly, it's a very young holiday too. You don't really see anyone over,
Like bunnies.
Yeah, any elderly people getting into this and handing out candy.
Yeah, I
Passing
think
out candy is kind of a thing here.
The candy thing, I never saw the candy thing happen when I was in Asia for like Halloween and stuff. It's mostly just like the youths, well not the kids, mostly like people in their 20s just going out, dressing up and getting blasted, and that was about it.
That's pretty much all it is, yeah. Yep. And now that I would say, well, if you believe the statistics, most people in Japan are now vaccinated. I think Shibuya is going to go absolutely bananas this year. A little scary to think about.
I heard they loosened the what's the quarantine time for international travel to Japan recently. But it kind of sucks. It's 10 days. It's like, it's not 2 weeks, but it's 10 days if you're vaccinated. But I'm just like, I don't got that much PTO though. So I'm going to have to postpone my trip.
I don't think the border is even open to tourists yet. And I think that rule still only applies to people who have a resident visa to legally be in the country here. So I think you have to already have a visa. So I don't think we're seeing any tourists come in for 2021.
I see.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, because I was reading on it and I was just like, my flight is in November. But I'm gonna wait the week out to rebook my flight because I'm like, spin the win, let's see what happens.
Yeah, you never know. And yeah. Anything can happen in this world, so worldwide pandemic. Well, yeah, we do have a brand new prime minister, so who knows what can happen.
Open the borders, let me in.
Open the borders.
I want to see Mario Land.
Oh, speaking of Mario Land, I am planning on heading over to the Kansai region to experience some of the best weed destinations in Japan. How about that for a segue? So this week is actually my fall break, and at the school we're doing midterms, and I have a couple days off coming up this week, and I was planning on heading to probably one of the best kept weeb secrets, I would say, because I have never heard of this place being spoken about in the American weeb community. There is a place called Nijigen no Mori on Awaji Island, and this is near Osaka, near Kobe, and it is a gigantic outdoor Naruto theme park. And I am very excited to dress up as a ninja, and they have an outdoor obstacle course that it's basically kind of like an outdoor escape room that you can run through, and you're basically going to Konoha and you're given the scrolls and you're kind of like going through ninja training. So
that sounds so fun.
I know, I'm really excited to complete my ninja training.
I was envisioning it was the one that Jump has. You know how there's a Jump theme park, right? Like Shonen Jump?
Shonen Jump?
Shonen Jump, yeah.
Are you talking about the one in like the mall? Where it's in like Shibuya or something?
I don't remember because I never went.
It's downtown somewhere, right?
Yeah. Like, is it different from that? Is it like literally a whole ninja island?
It's a whole ninja island. This place is a whole ninja island. Like, there is this island is actually really nice. There's a resort on the island. very fancy. It's a very fancy looking kind of getaway, and then like for the rich kids, the rich Japanese kids that the parents want to get rid of, they've built this entire Naruto island for the children. So
On my way.
yeah,
I am the children.
I'm expecting to be surrounded by
Little
spoiled
weeblets.
Japanese children.
You're gonna stomp on those weeblets. Be the
Little
best
weeblets.
freaking ninja ever.
Yeah, except that Naruto isn't that popular anymore, and you really don't see a lot of Naruto merch around because it's kind of old, and especially since after Boruto has come out, that's kind of like, I don't know, Naruto. I don't think it's aged well. Sorry to my Naruto fans, but I felt like back in the day, you either had to pick one track to be on, right? Because of the time investment to watch this series. It was
either
pirates or ninjas,
yeah.
right? I went with ninjas just because I was like in a fight who would win, and there is going to be a lot of people who disagree with me, but I went with Naruto. So, if you don't know you don't know anything about these characters, you don't know anything about their powers, you don't know anything about their backstories, just looking at the picture of the character art. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Luffy, but
I'm a fool and went with magical girls, so I don't get an island except for that one part in Universal Osaka where I get Sailor Moon stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely shonen biased, so yeah, I went with ninjas. So this is probably one of the biggest things on my bucket list to, living in Japan. So, given that, I am not gonna set my expectations very high because this is one of those very low budget theme parks, and you can kind of tell just the way that this theme park is laid out that it's almost entirely outdoors, and it's if you think about what Konoha is, it's really just a Japanese village in the mountains, and that's pretty much what this place is. It's like, so they didn't actually have to build a lot.
It's just Naruto live action IRL.
Yeah, they do have a real functioning ramen shop that is built exactly as Ichiraku ramen. Yeah, and they have the giant gates on the entrance, and they have the Hokage cliff with the faces. They're Mount Rushmore of Hokage. So I think it's like I wouldn't call it, it's even kind of a stretch to call it a theme park. I would call it an outdoor glorified cosplay studio. So it's very, very photogenic, and like definitely bring your cosplays if you guys are coming here and you're into Naruto and you want to take a ton of pictures. So we'll see how it grades. I'll let you guys know next week how it scores on the report card.
How long are you going for? Like a week or?
Probably 4 days. I'm gonna leave Thursday, Friday. I want to go to Nara and
Go see how healthy the deer poops are, because the tourists aren't feeding them things that they're not supposed to be eating.
You mean the rice crackers?
Yeah. Okay. So my friend, she used to work at Universal, and she was reading an article about how the digestive tracts of the deers in Nara are so much healthier since the pandemic happened, because tourists aren't feeding them garbage, and they actually don't have runny poop anymore, because that was like a thing in Nara because the deer were eating garbage. And I was just like, oh, good for those deer, eating food they're meant to eat, not garbage.
They got that fiber back in their diet.
Eating grass as nature intended.
Aww. All right, yeah, I'm going to Nara, check on the deer,
Feed them
check
the little
that
crackers.
off my bucket list. Yeah.
Make
I
sure
don't know
you
if I'm gonna actually feed them crackers though. I think I'm just gonna go take pictures because
make
I've
sure
heard
you
they get
bow.
really aggressive.
Yeah, make sure you bow to them. In the springtime, they're more aggressive.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my distance. So.
Just go like that, and then they bow back.
Yeah.
They're very polite.
I hope so. I don't
Unless
want
you
to
have
get bitten by
crackers.
its ear.
If
Yeah,
you,
I
they're
don't-
they're more food motivated if anything. So if you have the crackers, they're harassing you.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll see what's up in Nara. So, Nara, Nara and Awaji Island, my Naruto theme park. That's on my agenda for this weekend. So, a little
so
weekend
soon.
getaway. Mhm.
How are you getting there? Are you taking Shinkansen?
Shinkansen. Yes, very quick on the Shinkansen. Only about 3.5 hours, maybe, to get from Tokyo to Kyoto, and then from there I'll probably be taking just a local train.
Ooh, can you go check out the bento boxes that they have on Shinkansen? Cause I freaking love Shinkansen bento boxes.
I think they're overrated. They're like
Really?
$10, and I'm like, this is kind of rice in a box. And I'm just
But they're
like,
so cute.
everything in Japan is cute, though. Like, I don't know.
I
mean,
especially
think-
like the kids meals because usually they have like train shaped kids bentos.
Okay.
I just like
I'll make the
aesthetic. I'm a
effort to
sucker
try
for
to-
aesthetic. I'm sorry.
Well, then you're in the right place.
Oh my god, what if they
Japan is
have
very
freaking Demon Slayer themed bento boxes?
aesthetic. They really do.
Wait, they
Demon
do?
Slayer, everything. Demon Slayer, everything.
Because it
No,
would be
Demon
so.
Slayer stuff is everywhere here.
It would be so on brand to have Demon Slayer themed bento boxes on a Shinkansen because the movie is like on the train and shit. It's on brand. It's so on brand.
Yeah, I feel like if the Naruto theme park people wanted to actually bring tourism back to their theme park, they should really convert it into a Demon Slayer.
It's pretty
theme
much
park.
the same layout, just change the
Right?
clothes.
Yeah, just paint over the orange and like black and green. That's all they need to do, really. It's just
Put that in the comments box when you go. Please
yeah, I mean,
rebrand
it's
to
pretty
Demon
much
Slayer.
the same storyline. Young boy goes to the mountains to train to fight. It's like every shonen plotline.
Take my money. But apparently the second season started of Demon Slayer, and I'm like, oh, I should probably get on since I actually binge watched through all of first season after watching the movie, and I was like, well, I'm caught up now, but now I'm behind again because I guess they're on like the second episode of the second season now. So I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's starting. I should get on that.
Yeah, I'll probably catch up this weekend, maybe on the Shinkansen on the way there.
On brand.
Yeah.
It takes off after the train thing.
Oh my god, watching it on the train. Wow.
Stop living my dream.
I really am living a new dream. Riding the train into the mountains to go do ninja training. Finally, we'd like to end with some Q&A. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or requests for topics you'd like to hear more about, please reach out to us on our social media at Top Class Tokyo on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Or send us an email at topclasstokyo@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay classy, Tokyo. Or wherever you are in the world. Oh man, I feel so
When in doubt, okay.
fired. I need to find
man.
sign up to the Patreon so we can hire a real musician. Okay. Great outro right there.
I forget how the music goes, just so like.